Hello, I'm Father Louis Scurti with Friends of the Word, the Weekday Word. Today my guest is Jeanne Michaud. Jeanne is a friend of ours. How are you, Jeanne, and welcome?
Good to see you again.
Who has various interests, and one of the interests is why she's here today. The topic is human trafficking, slavery, 21st century slavery. Jeanne, we were chatting before. You spoke about the number of slaves today in our own country. What comparison to what?
Well, if you compare how many slaves there are worldwide, an estimated 27 million people are enslaved worldwide. And if you look at the number of people that were trafficked from Africa to the U.S. before slavery was supposedly abolished in the U.S., there is more slaves today than over the 300 years that people were trafficked.
That's amazing. It's a crime against humanity. Part of the theme of what we're doing today is going to be referring to a slave, a former slave, who is now a saint, Saint Bakita. Saint Bakita was born in 1869 in the area of South Darfur in Western Sudan, and she was kidnapped at age 7 and sold several times into slavery. Around 1883, she was sold to a member of the Italian consul who eventually brought her back to Venice, where she became a Catholic. She was so impressed with what she found, and I like the quote that she used as sort of the maid of the children. Be good, love God, pray for those who do not know God. What a great grace it is to know God. Bakita died in 1947, and she was made a saint. Saint Bakita is the patron of Sudan, and she is also the patron for victims of and survivors of human trafficking and slavery. The topic for today, human slavery and trafficking. Okay, let's start somewhere. This has been going on for centuries, regrettably. Let's begin today. What is the situation with slavery, and where is it? Where do we see it, and we don't know we're seeing it?
Well, first of all, slavery is worldwide. It is here in the U.S. Slaves are trafficked into the U.S.
Explain what that means, trafficked.
Trafficked means that they are brought into slavery against their will. And slavery does not necessarily mean they're not fully compensated for their work, but they certainly don't make enough money to live by.
Okay, so a trafficker goes to a community, like, let's stay in the United States for now. Okay, where would a trafficker, someone who, quote, solicits or hires a slave, where would he get them?
They might be at the bus terminal in New York City, where a lot of runaways come in, and they're easily identifiable. They may be at a McDonald's in a suburb, and some young girls are going in to get food to eat, and they kidnap them. Some people, some children, and we're basically focusing on children in the work that I've done. The average age of a child that's trafficked into sex slavery in the U.S. is between 12 and 14 years of age, which most people don't know and understand.
So through kidnapping or runaways. Kidnapped again, they were kidnapped as well.
There are some people, statistics are very rare because it's very hard, it's hidden. Some people will sell their children even in the United States. Obviously, they're very poor. And the children go and are confident on the internet now, but they're very naive about what can happen. And they may see a party posted.
Right.
And they'll go to the party, and there will be traffickers there, and they'll take them.
Or the importance of parents to get involved in what kids look at on the internet. As you're speaking on this topic, I want to refer to the documents of Vatican II, the document called Gaudium et Spes. The varieties of crime are numerous. all offenses against life itself, such as murder, genocide, abortion, euthanasia, willful suicide, all violations of the integrity of the human person, such as mutilation, physical and mental torture, undue psychological pressures, all offenses against human dignity, such as subhuman living conditions, arbitrary imprisonment, deportation, slavery, prostitution, the selling of women and children, degrading work conditions where people are treated as mere tools for profit rather than free and responsible persons. All these and the like are criminal. They poison civilization. They debase the perpetrators more than the victims and mitigate against the honor of the Creator. These are the documents of Vatican II 50 years ago, and they were referring to this slap on humanity. Go ahead. So typically, what is the route then that they follow when they are kidnapped?
Part of what is done is to brainwash them so that they will be submissive. The Stockholm Syndrome often occurs.
Please explain that too.
Okay.
Well, basically, very quickly, Stockholm Syndrome is the perpetrators became friendly with the victims, and then the victims depended on the perpetrators, and they became emotional and psychological slaves, just as referred to. So basically,
I think part of what happens depends on if they're a runaway. They're running away from a very, very sad situation that they've been in, and they feel that no one loves them. So the person that has captured them, usually a pimp in terms of children, they become their friend. They befriend them at first. They'll buy them a meal, a simple meal, and it means so much to them. So they identify with that person and feel that that person loves them, and then eventually that person will say, well, I'm in a really big fix. I need your help. I need you to go and really prostitute yourself.
Right. But they don't say that. They don't use those words necessarily.
Right. They don't. So they go and they groom them. Then the pimp usually has a cadre of these people, and as many as 10 or 20. A pimp in the United States makes about $200,000 a year. And each child defined being under 18.
And not necessarily girls only.
Not just girls only, predominantly girls, but there are boys that are prostituted also. They may have to perform a sex act 20 to 40 times a day. They can be beaten. They're afraid to run away. And even when they do run away, typically it takes a few times before they stay away. They end up going back.
It's such a blight, and recently the bishops of the United States issued documents on our education, how important it is for us to be educated. And I want to close this segment with this quote from the Migrations, a Sign of the Times. Trafficking, this is by Benedict XVI, trafficking of human beings, especially women, which flourishes where opportunities to improve their standard of living or even survive are limited. Education. We need to learn more about human trafficking and slavery in the United States and globally. And Jeanne's going to come back to another presentation in the near future, and we're going to pick up the topic of slavery and human trafficking. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate this.